So on to our speaker. We have Dr. Mohammed Dalwai, is the co-founder and chief product officer at the digital healthcare information platform called Essential Medical Guidance, or EMGuidance, which empowers healthcare professionals to make better decisions for their patients and improve medical outcomes. He's a qualified medical doctor with a PhD. Dr. Dalwai worked for Doctors Without Borders across multiple countries, including northern Pakistan, Afghanistan, Syria, Sierra Leone, and Haiti, before entering the field of medical technology and entrepreneurship. Dr. Dalwai is a TED Fellow, an Ashoka Fellow, and a former Doctors Without Borders Southern Africa president. He holds an MBChB from the University of Stellenbosch and a PhD from the University of Cape Town. The leading digital platform for clinical decision-making support in Southern Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa, EMGuidance aims to optimize patient care outcomes by giving healthcare professionals access to the latest treatment protocols, diagnostics, education, and local medicines guidance from across the healthcare ecosystem and medical industry, delivered transparently and at the point of care. So I'm very excited. Thank you so much for joining us. And please welcome Dr. Mohammed Dalwai onto the stage.
Hi, guys. Thank you very much. My name is Mohammed. And today I'm going to talk about digital scripting. Okay. So I'm going to ask a question first. I know that I'm keeping you from your lunch. So I'm going to try and make this as concise as possible. Okay. Who wears a seatbelt? Raise of hands. Who wears a seatbelt? Okay, we have some dangerous folks over here in the middle, not wearing a seatbelt, but okay, cool. Thank you. Now, you might be asking, why are you telling me about seatbelts, Mohammed? You said you're going to talk about digital scripting, but just bear with me, okay? I want to give you a little bit of a history around seatbelts. So seatbelts was invented in the 1950s. In the 70s, South Africa actually implemented seatbelts, and they said, no, you must wear seatbelts. But did we wear seatbelts in the 70s? No, we never really wore seatbelts. Okay. In 2001, they actually legally mandated seatbelts. What did we do? We said, no, it doesn't feel nice. We knew it was safer for us, but we still didn't wear it. We knew it was better for our outcomes, but we didn't really want to do it. Okay. And then only in 2010, when there was fines and penalties that came through, did we say, okay, fine. We'll wear our seatbelts now. And now everybody wears their seatbelt except the dangerous few here in the middle. Okay. And so digital scripting is very similar to seatbelts. We know it's better for us. We know it will decrease medication error. We know it will make us safer as healthcare workers, but we don't really have done it. So today I want to talk about digital prescribing and what we've kind of built at EMGuidance and why I think we need to actually start using digital scripting much more as a healthcare ecosystem. So just a little bit about EMGuidance. Taking a step back, EMGuidance was really designed to empower healthcare workers. It's a digital platform with medicines information, clinical guidelines, ICD-10 codes, everything that you would need to safely practice medicine in South Africa is available in EMGuidance. Okay. We have a store like a little bit down the road there. So if you want to find out more information about EMGuidance, please go through. We've grown tremendously over the last 10 years. And so at the moment, we have a search every 2 seconds on our platform. We've grown across the country. We have over 100,000 healthcare workers that have signed up to EMGuidance. And we have massive amounts of activity on a daily basis on the platform. And we're both in rural and urban settings. What we do is really 3 main key pillars: clinical information and clinical guidance. We have an education and academy system where you can have free CPDs. You can also have courses that you pay for. We have a digital prescription platform, which I'm going to tell you about. And we've recently started launching work opportunities available as well for healthcare workers. So it's really an ecosystem and a platform. So one of the key players, or one of the key reasons why we started looking at scripting, was people would look at our clinical information and they say, okay, cool, I find the information, but I can't get I want to press the button and I want to actually script. I want to be able to send this to the patient. And so we've focused on 4 key pillars when we thought about digital prescribing. Who has ever had their script pad stolen or had a patient that has fraudulently changed the script. Anybody? Now that's a horrible experience, okay? And to go through that is actually quite difficult. You have the cops get involved, the police come to your practice, they need to validate that it wasn't actually you doing the fraudulent script. And so there's quite a lot of issues around that. So one of the key things we focused on was how do we make this very secure, and how do we make sure that when you sign a script, you sign in it in a compliant and effective manner. And so there's a whole process about that, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later. The second key element is I can't remember every dose. I have to be honest. As a doctor, I can't actually remember every single dose. And so having a reference point, having a system that helps me make better decisions is actually better for me. And so we've packed a whole lot of really interesting clinical intelligence into the system. We've packed this ability to have interaction checkers. We've packed the ability to be able to have a sensitivity or allergic reactions already embedded into the script. And it was really around making the script as intelligent as possible so that healthcare workers are empowered to make better decisions. The third element is patient access and autonomy. So one of the key challenges that we have is patients will come to you, they'll get a script, and then you have to send that script to the pharmacy because it's not secure. So the pharmacy is saying, no, you must send it to me directly from the practice. Then the patient phones you back and goes, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm not going to go to the Clicks or the Dis-Chem. I'm actually going to go to the independent pharmacy because it's on my way home. Now you must take time out of your day and change where that script goes to as a healthcare worker. And that takes time out of your practice that you should be focusing on either other patients or other elements in your practice. And so what we've done for the first time is we've allowed the patient to actually be able to send the script in a compliant manner to any pharmacy in the country. And we've integrated across the ecosystem into over 2,000 pharmacies in South Africa. So Dis-Chem, Clicks, Medirite, the ICPA pharmacies, all of them are integrated into our system. The fourth element is part of this thing. One of the big challenges that pharmacies have told us is to say, I've sent a patient has come to me with a WhatsApp script. How do I know that this WhatsApp hasn't been sent to 5 other pharmacies, especially if it's a high scheduled drug? And so what we've built for them is this ability to be able to track very specifically every single action that has happened on that script. So if you think about it like a blockchain technology, it's every single action that is immutable that you cannot change. And so as a pharmacy, I can then see exactly, okay, this patient has sent this script to me and they haven't sent it to any other pharmacy at all. So those are the key areas. I want to step back and talk about the really exciting part, because this is where we all get excited. The legislation, everybody gets excited for legislation. So I'm going to briefly touch on the legislation because I know you guys get very excited around this. So please. So South African legislation in the Medicines Act was actually very forward-thinking. In 2017, they changed the legislation and they updated the legislation to be able to contemplate the sending of a digital script. Now, they made some other changes as well. This is not a comprehensive list of every single change that they've made, but they've made some other changes. So one of the big changes is the ID number. You actually have to have an ID number on your script to make it a legally valid script. Or if they don't have an ID number, you need to have a passport number on the script to make it legally valid. So much so that if it's a neonate and they haven't been issued an ID number, you actually need to have the guardian's ID number on that script to make it a legally valid document. And so those are some of the changes. But the two key changes that we're going to focus on are the last two that I have up on the slide. It's the ability to send a script using an electronic agent and the ability to sign a script using something called an advanced electronic signature. And I'll touch a little bit about what an advanced electronic signature is. So we're going to touch on those two things. So let's touch on the first one, an electronic agent. Now, who has ever sent a script via WhatsApp? Yeah, don't be shy. You can put your hand up. I'm not going to come after you, okay? We've all sent it via WhatsApp. We've all sent it via email. Someone's even taken a picture of a paper script and then sent it through to a patient, okay? Now, we've all done this. No judgment here, okay? The challenge is that that's not an electronic agent. That's the electronic transmission of a script, but it's not an electronic agent. An electronic agent is really an automated system that allows you to send a script and that is trackable in the system. And it is created automatically by the system. And so that's actually what you need when you are sending an electronic script. Okay? That's not to say you can't use WhatsApp or email, but it means that the system that you're using needs to be verified in an electronic agent. And then the second element is the signature part. So there are two types of valid signatures in South Africa. The first one is called a wet ink signature. That's the one that we all know and love. It's the one that you scribble on and no one can read your handwriting. That's the one. That's a wet ink signature. Okay? And that's a valid script. No one can take it away. Then there is something called an electronic or an advanced electronic script. Okay? And that's the only other way of having a valid script. So it's either a wet ink signature or an advanced electronic signature. Now, what is an advanced electronic signature, you ask? There are two types of electronic signatures in South Africa. There is the normal electronic signature. Who has ever used DocuPilot or DocuSign to sign documents for your practice, for maybe some, whatever it is, but you've never signed it for your home loan? Okay, there you have to go in person and you need a wet ink signature. And that's because an electronic signature is actually unsecured. Normally it's tied to your email address and it links somewhat to your name and surname, but there's no way of proving that me as Dr. Dalwai have actually signed that script if I use an unsecured electronic signature. So that picture of your signature that you paste onto a PDF document, it's not going to cut it. That's very unsecure. Okay? Anybody can take your picture and take it onto another script. And that's the challenge with digital signing, is that it can become very easy to actually manipulate and very easy to create fraudulent scripts on. So you have to be careful with it. Because at the moment, there are no fines and penalties. So like in the seatbelt area, there's no fines and penalties currently that we know of that has happened against any practitioner. But we know that there have been advances going towards the pharmacies and trying to take on the pharmacies when they are accepting non-valid scripts. And it's only a matter of time that the medical schemes start coming after the actual practitioners themselves when they are issuing non-valid scripts. So an advanced electronic script, so you have the unsecured one, and then you have the advanced electronic signature. The advanced electronic signature is something that is uniquely tied to you as an individual. Okay? I can prove without a doubt that it was this specific person that signed that script, and I can tell you exactly when they signed it and how they signed it. And it either is related to a two-factor authentication, so like a Google Authenticator, or your biometrics, your fingerprint, or your face scan. How does it work in South Africa? We have, unfortunately, only two options in South Africa. So you have the SAAA, which is a governmental organization. And I don't want to say anything about the governmental organizations. There are other governmental organizations here on the floor today. But they aren't always the very quickest of organizations, if you know what I mean. So they have only actually issued two certificate authorities. And so that is Law Trust and Trust Factory. So those are the only certificate authorities that are allowed to issue a certificate in someone's name. So if I go to anybody, they will be able to come to my house. They validate that it's actually me. They take a picture of me and my ID. And then they go, yes, we visited this person. We validate that this person is alive. And this person is who they say they are. And then you get issued a certificate for your digital script. And then you can use it on any one of the platforms. And that is a laborious process. It's a problem. We've tried to make it as seamless as possible for healthcare workers, but it does take about between 3 and 5 days. Okay? And that is one of the biggest stumbling blocks to be able to have a valid signature. So like I said, it's a two-factor authentication. It's linked uniquely to you as an individual. And it doesn't look like a scribbly signature. It actually is encrypted into the document itself. So that document is encrypted with your signature, and anybody who touches that document will be able to validate that it was you who actually has signed that script. So there's a couple of legal misconceptions that are currently going around. One is that a digital script is not the original script. I hope that I've proven to you now, looking at the legislation, and I know a lot of you are very excited about, was that the legislation says that any script that is signed using a valid electronic signature and is sent using an electronic agent is actually the original script. And so whether it's a Schedule 1 or a Schedule 6, it can actually be sent digitally to anybody in South Africa. Schedule 6, the other misconception, that Schedule 6 can't be sent electronically. As I've just said in the previous point, any script, whether it's a Schedule 1 or Schedule 6, if it is signed using an electronic agent and a valid electronic signature, it's actually the original script. And you can send it to any pharmacy. And no pharmacy can reject that. Okay? The last one was that it must come from the doctor's practice. Now, this actually came about in COVID when there wasn't a lot of digital platforms that were very secure and compliant. And the ICPA and the PSSA actually sent out a notification to say, look, because we don't have a lot of things that are legally valid, if it is coming from a doctor's practice, it is slightly safer than just having a random person come show you a script from a pharmacy perspective. Now, because we moved out of COVID, that is where this myth is coming from and a lot of the misconception. But at the moment, there's no reason why you as a practice must send the script to the pharmacy. Sometimes the pharmacist just feels safer, and that's a discussion between you and the pharmacist. But from a legal perspective, there's no legality around that. So we have some unique security features. We have the ability to have it in the cloud. You write out the script, it gets sent to the cloud. The patient can request that it's sent to any pharmacy, so you don't have to get involved. And that allows you to, again, focus on your practice. And the pharmacy can also pull it down using one of the ID numbers. So you can actually put in the patient's ID number, and they'll be able to pull the script down from the cloud automatically. I'm not going to go through all the unique security features because I want to focus on some of the actual, how it looks and feels in real life. But one of the things that we have implemented is also ID verification. So when you put an ID into the EMGuidance system, we actually validate this with the Department of Home Affairs. We check that that ID number is a valid ID number and that it is that patient is still alive. And then we actually pull down data for that patient for you to be able to script on. We've also integrated with electronic health records, so you can pull patient data from your electronic health record into the script as well. So I want to jump into the demo now. Who of you have EMGuidance on your phone? Just by show of hands. Okay, awesome, great. So you are familiar with the platform. The script is a separate application, but can be on the web, also accessed on the same website. So this is my EMGuidance script. I've blocked out some of the names there, but you basically can actually search for the patient in that search bar, and whether that patient is on our database or whether they're in the Department of Home Affairs database, we'll pick them up if it is on the ID number. And we'll be able to pull that data back to you directly. Once you go into a demo patient or one of your own patients, you'd be able to see scripts not only from you. You'd be able to see scripts from every doctor that has issued scripts for this patient. So we're trying to break down the silo of data information. Because at the moment, what happens is you have a patient that has gone for 2 weeks somewhere else before you. You have no idea what that doctor actually prescribed. Okay? Or maybe they're on chronic medication that you also don't know about. And so what we're trying to do is obviously with patient permission, the patient has to give you doctors permission to be able to access their history and their record. You'd be able to see all the different scripts. So not only from you, but from your thing. You'd also be able to see on the side any allergies that the patient might have that another doctor maybe has registered. Or any of their current medications or recent medications on as well. This patient is obviously a demo patient, but he's a hypochondriac, so you can see they're on a lot of different medications there. So please forgive this patient. What you'll be able to also then do is see, you can very easily repeat the script, you can amend the script, You can add, you can actually see dispensing details. So if I click on the dispensing details, on my right panel, it will show me every action that has happened on that script. So I don't have any actions there, but it will be able to show you if I sent this to a pharmacy and when did I send it to the pharmacy. It will show you if the patient sent it to a pharmacy. It will show you if the pharmacy actually integrated with us and actually dispensed this medication or not. So you'd be able to get a complete view of this patient on the system as well. Just want to go back there. You'd also be able to send this patient, send it to the pharmacy for the patient. So the patient is old. Say the patient wants you to send it to the pharmacy, you can also send it to the pharmacy. Or they could actually send it to the pharmacy directly. If they get like a little link, they can click on the link and then send it to any pharmacy in their geolocation. You can copy the script if you're using a EHR. You can copy it and paste it into your EHR. We are doing some EHR integrations where the script is automatically being pulled into the EHR itself as well. I can chat about that a bit later. But you can also download a travel document. So it's very important for patients with high schedule medications that they actually travel with their script. Because from a customs perspective, you don't want any of your patients to land up in a Thai prison. Okay? That's the worst place you want to be able to have your patients land up. And so you have to actually give them a script when they are traveling. You'll be able to print that from here, or if they are having a medical scheme discussion, you can be able to download it there as well. So let's say we start creating the script. We've plugged this into our medicines database, which is one of the most comprehensive medicines databases in South Africa. So even if you can't spell like me, it will actually auto spell and help you fill out the medication. So you don't have to fill out all the medication. You can then choose from the different drugs that are available. Once you choose from those drugs that are available, for like a suspension for paracetamol, you can actually just put in the weight and it will automatically calculate the dose for you based on the weight that you put in. You can then click on the frequency, you click on the duration, it will work out the total quantity for you and automatically put that in and the block will go blue. On the side, you'll see all the information that you are used to from EMGuidance, like the adult dose, pediatric dose, also substitutions. So you can see all the generic substitutions available in South Africa. And you can also see all the substitutions of a class 4 nature. So if you think about ACE inhibitor, I want to look at other ACE inhibitors as well. I don't want to only look at the generics. I want to look at all the ACE inhibitors, and it'll be able to give you all the different ones available. You'll be able to look at the pediatric dosage information automatically on the side there, and you'll be able to see and make sure that you are prescribing correctly for this patient. It will also, on the side, highlight as you add in different drugs, whether there's an interaction between the drugs, or if the patient has a known allergy, if there's an allergic reaction to this drug. So this patient has a penicillin allergy, and so it will, a sulfonamide allergy, and it will pick up from the ones that are available. Once you've done with your script, and you say it doesn't block you as a healthcare worker, because as a healthcare worker, sometimes, even though there are interactions, you would still continue with the script. So you are allowed to continue with the script. If you preview and send the script, you can actually sign it or preview and send it for a later date. So if you want to do your admin at night, you can say, look, I actually want to send it tomorrow morning. You can put that in, put the time on, and you'll be able to send it to the patient tomorrow morning automatically. You can also sign it immediately. You can use WhatsApp, SMS, or email, or a combination of the three to be able to make sure that they get the script, and you'll be able to then access or send it to them automatically as well. Once you click send, it will validate you either through a two-factor sign or through your fingerprint or Face ID, and then it will basically sign, encrypt that script, and embed your digital signature into that then gets sent off in the PDF. What we've also added on the side here is around script analysis. So we've given you analytics on your scripts. So now you can see how many scripts are you actually issuing out per day. You can see what's your most prescribed medication that you're actually issuing out. You can even see what's my most common ICD-10 code. So on the script itself, you can actually add ICD-10. We will reference all our database for ICD-10 codes, so it makes it much easier for you to find, and you'll be able to add it in automatically. And then we give you a summary of how you are actually, what types of patients are you treating in your practice. What we also give you is the most active prescribing days. And then for either some of our GPs and some of our specialists, what they found is extremely useful is you can start understanding per ICD-10, what's your average cost per script? And that allows you to take that data and start negotiating with the medical schemes for a better tariff. So doctors are tariffed in terms of how well they perform, level 1, 2, or 3 different schemes. They have different kind of systems that they essentially score doctors at. And this allows you to now have data for the first time and go back to the scheme and go, hey, I think I should be on a higher reimbursement tier or a faster reimbursement tier because I can show you my cost per script. And that is aligned with what your benefits are, et cetera, et cetera. And so it gives you data to be able to talk to either the schemes or even hospitals to be able to have a better negotiation strategy. And so this is all embedded into the system as well. So coming back to the actual presentation, and we've seen some dramatic growth over the last years. Over 400 prescribers have actually taken it up already and are using it across the country. We've issued out over 200. I think that number is now close to 300,000 scripts already over the last year or 2 years. And we've integrated across 2,000 pharmacies. We've integrated into EHRs, into hospital pharmacies, into normal ICPA pharmacies, as well as into all the major corporate pharmacies as well. What we've also done is we've created an open API. So this means that you can go to any EHR that you use and say, hey, I really want to use the EMGuidance system. Can you integrate it with us? And what we have been doing is working with a lot of the EHR out there. So with Codex, with VeriClaim, we have integrations with BCX and, like I said, all the corporate pharmacies. We also have integrations with Bookham, Clinico. These are other EHRs as well that allow us to essentially start either pulling patient data from them or in the advanced integrations, pull and push data to them as well. And this is what we've been really focusing on and allows us. So we're very open to this. It's a free platform, a free API. If anybody wants to integrate with us, they can. And they're really kind of focused on having this as open as possible and making sure that patients are not siloed anymore and that the data is being shared across different systems. And then my last slide is really about the value on like digital prescribing. So we know it's better for us. Okay. We know that it protects us as healthcare workers from fraud and from abuse. Okay. And just like we know the seatbelt keeps us safer. You should be doing digital scripting if you're not already. You don't have to use our platform. You can use any platform, but digital prescribing is safer for you as a healthcare worker. It also decreases medication error. And we know that medication errors, unfortunately, there's no data in South Africa around medication errors, but there is a horrific stat around like one in every 4 scripts that are written internationally has an error on it, either a dosage error or a medicine's error itself, or the incorrect drug for that disease. And so medication error is a huge challenge that we face, and making sure that you are using a digital system with intelligence helps you decrease that. And then the third one is a lot of times there's this inertia because it's like, but I can write paper faster than I can do digital. And that's probably well and good. As you get better at anything, you are going to get faster at it. There are going to be things that you can repeat with 1 click. There are going to be things that you can check with 1 click. Things that you can't do on paper. You don't have an interaction checker on paper. Okay. You don't have an allergy checker on paper. You don't have an automatic name corrector on paper because I can't spell drugs for the life of me. And with all the new trade names, and there's some trade names right there, like you can't always spell them very correctly. So you have to actually think about it. We've tried to make this as fast as paper. And over time, most of our doctors are saying, actually, it's actually safer or faster for me. But all the administration issues of the back and forth between you and the patient and the pharmacy and you, digital prescribing actually does save time. And we have anecdotal evidence around this with our clients already. And so those are the 3 reasons why I really believe that digital prescribing over the next 5 to 10 years is going to take over anybody. And then It's really about the doctors that are not using digital prescribing are going to be replaced by doctors that are using digital prescribing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions? I must say, I just when you were showing the demo, I was thinking about my GP and thinking I should tell her about EMGuidance, because there were a few times I've been to her with my kids, and obviously as they grow older, they can pick up weight, etc., where she's had to go and get her book from the cabinet and like page through and like look up what the dosages are, like that. So she definitely needs EMGuidance. But I wanted to ask, so it sounds like a fantastic tool that every prescribing practitioner should have. So how do they access it? Is there a cost, and what is the accessibility of it? Because you mentioned you have a rural thing. Yeah.
Unfortunately, with EMGuidance is free, and we made it free for the last 10 years, and we're not going to change that. Okay. The challenge that we have is the cost of the electronic signature is actually a fixed cost that we can't get away from. And so that's actually the biggest reasons why we actually have a cost attached to the script. But at the moment, there's like a free trial. So you can go on for 14 days, try it out. And again, you don't have to use our system. You can use any other digital system available. Make sure that it's compliant. Make sure that you are doing it correctly, and make sure that it actually is empowered with digital intelligence. So there's a freely available system for us for 14 days. You can go try it. You can issue it out. You can issue scripts out, and you can see if it works for you. And then there is a monthly cost going forward. Some of our EHR integration partners are actually covering their cost for the doctors. So come chat to me afterwards. I can tell you about some of the EHR partners. And then, it's just a monthly cost. It ranges from $299 to $699, depending on what you want. And we really are looking at how do we make this as affordable as possible for as many health workers as possible, because we really believe that this is going to help decrease error and make us safer as healthcare workers.
And then in terms of your rural presence, so is it through an app or a website? And do you need is it data intensive or not? Like how accessible is it?
So it's available both on app and website in all areas. From a data perspective, it does use data, but we house a lot of the data on EMGuidance offline. So you can access certain things offline. Obviously, with the script, to sign the script, you need to be online because it needs to connect to the SAAA and Trust Factory to validate your certificate. But that's the only component that you would need to be online for. The other ones is you can actually write out the script, save it, and then when you get connection, actually sign it and send it off. And those are the limitations in data.
I think we have a question here.
Yes, my name is Chris. My question is, when the patient dies, how do you reconcile the data?
When the patient dies?
The patient dies, how do you reconcile the data?
Okay. So we obviously keep data according to the HPCSA regulations as well as the legal regulations. And so we still have that data available for a time period. And that will be on our system until that time period expires. When you say reconcile that data, I'm not sure what you mean in 100%. No. So we don't take them out of the system until that time period has elapsed. And then we will take that data out of the system. If obviously with the ID number, we can then validate it, but then you won't be able to script further for that patient once that ID number is registered as dead.
Okay, so I understand, because you're probably wondering, like, how do you prevent fraudulent scripting on somebody who has died, and then but now you've answered that question. Thank you. Any other questions?
Can this script be incorporated into any electronic health record that one could be using? Let's say there's a software that we're using for our claims. Are we able to incorporate EMG into our record, into our software, or is it an independent thing?
So it is an independent element, EMGuidance, but that gives us the ability to play with everybody. So we have that API. API is called an application programming interface, and it's for like billing systems, EHRs that can integrate with us so that you can actually use it with your system. So you don't have to manually add the patient on again. It pulls data from your billing system and does it. So we have an integration with Bookham. We have an integration with GoodX, which is one of the big ones. We have an integration with VeriClaim as well, where it will pull patient data, issue out the script, and you can even start the script. It's going to come out in the next week or two, where you can start the script in the VeriClaim system or in the GoodX system as well.
Does your system have a billing software?
No.
No.
We are not a billing system, okay? We are a best-in-class prescription software. That's all we do. We only do prescription, and we do it, I might say, better than anybody else in South Africa. We do it more compliantly, safer, and more intelligently than anybody else. But that's our key focus, and that's why we're the best of the best. And that's why we also have an API, because we want other people to integrate with us. So that doctors don't have to jump out and use multiple systems. They use one system, and when they click a button, it opens up our system. They can script, and all the data is shared between the systems.
Yeah, you with HealthBridge, right? HealthBridge, yeah. So they're not yet. So you'll have to go and tell them, please, can you integrate so that they'll do that. Here's another question.
I think it's piggybacking onto that question before. So if the practitioner has got EMGuidance and the pharmacy has got EMGuidance, can the two systems speak to each other? In other words, can you then incorporate it? Ideally, you then want the practitioners to have EMGuidance and the pharmacies. Is that correct?
So the question is, if the doctor has EMGuidance and the pharmacy has EMGuidance, they talk to each other. So yes, they talk to each other. They talk to each other better. Okay. Even if they don't have EMGuidance. So say the doctor only has EMGuidance, and actually all pharmacies have EMGuidance. So there's a lot. I mean, like say, for instance, there's a very rural pharmacy that doesn't have EMGuidance. Even that patient can still send the script, the EMGuidance script, to that pharmacy, because it then just routes via email, and we track that email and the actions on that email. So it doesn't matter. But because we have such a wide reach of EMGuidance as a whole, it's just starting to talk really nicely. And now with our deeper integrations with the pharmacies, we're actually getting back, okay, cool, I've gotten your script. The script is ready now for collection, or I've gotten your script, so you can take the script off your system. And so then when the patient goes to another pharmacy, they can say, but hey, wait a minute, Clicks has already claimed the script already. I can't issue it again.
Thank you so much. We don't have time for more questions. Are you going to be around if people want to speak to you?
Yeah, the store is there. I will be around.
Oh, you have a stall as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can go and speak to him. There's a hidden, another hidden advantage that is nothing to do with scripting. I'm going to be talking about marketing, social media tomorrow, but just from a marketing perspective as a private practice owner, I liked what you showed about the data. Because as you heard from George, we spoke before, knowledge is power, information, data, all of that. And I think that data is quite powerful in terms of making strategic business decisions in your practice. So it will give you a nice idea of who your ideal patient is, or what types of patients, what types of conditions are you prescribing for, so that when you do your marketing, you can focus in on those types of patients, because you now know, oh, this is my ideal client avatar. So there's kind of like a hidden, the data is really powerful. So thank you so much. We are going to take a break now. Can we give Mohammed a round of applause?